Hello?
Hey, I just got a call from Playboy.
It looks like you, baby, I'm the fashion.
I'm wondering what dress you wear now. I say a little for you.
Kanye West was right. This is his 12-year-old daughter, Northwest, with Kim Kardashian. She's 12. Look at what she's wearing.
It's hard to tell if this is just a fling or if it's true love that he thinks.
Transition where from being a rapper, like looking at all these girls and looking at my wife, like, oh, my girl needs to be just like the other girls, showing her body off, showing this, showing that. And I didn't realize that that was affecting like my soul and my spirit as someone that's married and loved and the father of like now with about to be 4 kids. Of course, it's like a formal underwear. It's hot. It's like, it's hot for who though?
So like the night before the leg, you're going to come in here and say that you're not into a corset bag. Give me really bad anxiety. What are you talking about?
Why is that giving you anxiety to say that?
Because you knew last night I was having really bad anxiety and I don't need any more negative energy for you to now say that you're not into me wearing a tight bra.
Kanye West once swore on his life that his daughter North would never be dragged into the same Playboy-fueled spotlight that made the Kardashian empire what it is today. But after her latest appearance in Rome, dressed in an outfit critics say looked more runway than middle school, Kanye's worst nightmare might already be coming true, and fans are split on whether he's being protective or just plain hypocritical. The moment Kim Kardashian and her 12-year-old daughter Northwest stepped out of a sleek black car in Rome, the paparazzi flashbulbs exploded like fireworks. But it wasn't just another Kardashian photo op. It was a spectacle that immediately went viral. North was dressed in a black corset-style top paired with towering platform boots, her long electric blue braids cascading down her back. It was bold, fashion-forward, and undeniably grown. Too grown, according to thousands of fans who flooded social media within minutes. The internet didn't hold back. Comments poured in across TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Why is a 12-year-old wearing a corset? She's literally a kid. Let her be a kid. Some went even further, claiming Kim was deliberately pushing North into the spotlight the way Kris Jenner once orchestrated her daughter's rise. One viral tweet read, "This is giving mini Kylie at 12. Makeup paparazzi, adult outfits. It never ends well." Another simply said, "Kanye tried to warn us." And that's where the debate ignited. Because while Kim seemed to brush it off as just another stylish night out, fans couldn't stop connecting the dots back to Kanye West. For years, Kanye has gone on tirades about how he feared his children, especially North, would be exploited by the Kardashian machine. At the time, many dismissed his words as part of his meltdown era. But now, watching North walk into a Roman dinner dressed like a teen starlet instead of a middle schooler, people are wondering if Kanye's so-called paranoia was actually prophecy. For critics, the images felt like déjà vu. Another Kardashian daughter being ushered into adulthood before her time. The outrage wasn't just about fashion. It was about innocence, about childhood, about whether North was being allowed to grow up at her own pace or being rushed down a path her father swore he'd never allow. If the Rome dinner was the spark, Kanye West's past rants are the gasoline. Long before North ever set foot in a corset, Kanye had already drawn a line in the sand, swearing on God himself that his daughter would never be pushed into the same kind of sexualized spotlight that built the Kardashian empire. Back in 2020, during one of his most infamous Twitter meltdowns, Kanye typed out what sounded at the time like delusional rambling. He accused Kris Jenner, Kris Jong-un, as he mockingly called her, of grooming her daughters for fame through Playboy covers and sex appeal, and he declared that North would never be next in line. His words were sharp and emotional. "I put my life on God that North's mom would never photograph her doing Playboy. And that's on God." At the time, critics brushed it off as another outburst from a man spiraling in public. But 4 years later, with photos of 12-year-old North being scrutinized for looking too grown, Kanye's warnings don't sound so outlandish. They sound chillingly accurate. And it wasn't just Playboy that set him off. Kanye painted the entire Kardashian brand as a generational machine designed to turn women into products. He blasted Kris for allegedly pushing Kim into Playboy, then doing the same with Kylie years later. To Kanye, it wasn't a one-time mistake, it was a formula. A formula he was determined to keep North out of, even if it meant going to war with his own ex-wife and her mother. The Get Out comparisons made it even darker. In the middle of those 2020 meltdowns, Kanye claimed his life had literally become the Jordan Peele horror film. A story about a black man lured into a wealthy white family's home only to be exploited in the most sinister way. Kanye tweeted that Kim once tried to fly to Wyoming with a doctor to have him locked up, and in his mind, it was all part of the Kardashian playbook. Control the narrative, control the image, control the family. He insisted the entire movie was based on him, a man trapped inside a machine he could no longer escape. Then came the leaked texts. Kanye exposed private messages from Kris Jenner where she begged him to stop dragging her name into his rants. Please stop mentioning my name. I'm almost 67 years old, and I don't always feel great. This stresses me. But instead of backing down, Kanye doubled down, firing back. Don't let Kris make you do Playboy like she made Kylie and Kim. He wanted it in writing. He wanted the world to see that he was fighting to keep North out of the cycle. At the time, people laughed. They called him unhinged, paranoid, and unstable. But now, with North being styled, photographed, and trailed by paparazzi like a teenage celebrity, some of those same voices are whispering. Maybe Kanye wasn't crazy after all. Maybe he was the only one who saw what was coming. To really understand why people are so alarmed about North's Rome debut, you have to rewind the tape. Because for critics, this isn't new. It's history repeating itself, Kardashian style. Back in 2007, before Keeping Up with the Kardashians was even on the air, Kim Kardashian was a nervous 27-year-old debating whether or not to strip down for Playboy. She didn't want to do it. She admitted years later that she was hesitant, uncomfortable, and downright anxious about being photographed like that. But that's when Kris Jenner stepped in with her now infamous sales pitch. According to Kim, her mother told her, "Go for it. They might never ask you again. Our show isn't even on the air yet. Nobody knows who you are. Do it, and you'll have these beautiful photos to look back on when you're older." Kim gave in. The Playboy photo shoot went ahead. And almost overnight, the Kardashian brand exploded. Playboy became the publicity rocket fuel that turned the Kardashian name into a household empire. But the cost was high. Years later, Kim admitted it was one of her biggest regrets. The decision that haunted her image long after the initial fame boost faded. And yet, for Kris Jenner, it was proof of concept. The formula worked. Fast forward a few years, and we saw the same cycle play out again, this time with Kylie Jenner. Long before she was a billionaire makeup mogul, Kylie was barely a teenager experimenting with makeup, long nails, and adult-style fashion. Fans remember when Kylie, still underage, began stepping out in looks that made her seem older than she really was. She eventually jumped headfirst into cosmetic procedures and beauty branding, all before she was legally an adult. To critics, Kylie was another daughter rushed into adulthood for the sake of keeping the cameras rolling and the brand alive. Now, with North just 12 years old, dressed in corsets and boots that scream runway rather than recess, the comparisons feel unavoidable. It's déjà vu with a different Kardashian child. First Kim, then Kylie, and now North. The pattern is clear. Take a daughter, style her older than her years, build the buzz, and let the headlines do the work. But here's the twist. Unlike Kim and Kylie, North has Kanye as a father, someone who has loudly and publicly vowed to block that cycle at all costs. That's why people are saying this moment feels different. Because if Kim is following the same playbook her mother used on her, then North isn't just wearing a corset in Rome. She's walking right into the generational script Kanye has been fighting to tear apart. Here's where the story gets complicated. Because as much as Kanye West wants to paint himself as the lone protector shielding North from the Kardashian machine, the receipts don't exactly clear his name. In fact, many people argue that Kanye isn't just fighting Kim. He's fighting his own hypocrisy. Think back to Kim's rise as a sex symbol. For years, Kanye was the one behind her most daring looks, styling her to be the woman everyone stared at. That infamous wet dress at the 2019 Met Gala, the one that looked like it was dripping with crystals practically painted on her body, that wasn't Kim's idea. That was Kanye's vision. He wanted his wife to be the icon of desire, the living embodiment of high-fashion sex appeal. He didn't just approve of the spotlight, he curated it. And it wasn't just the clothes. Reports from as far back as 2013 suggest Kanye was fully supportive of Kim doing Playboy again. The man who now swears on God that his daughter will never go down that road once championed it for his wife. He pushed her to embrace the sex symbol image, framing it as empowerment, confidence, and artistry. But then, almost overnight, the script flipped. By 2019, on the night of the Met Gala, Kanye stunned Kim when he suddenly told her he didn't like her dressing too sexy in front of other men. "You're my wife," he said. "It affects me when pictures are too sexy." The same man who had built her up as a global bombshell was now trying to tear that image down, simply because he had changed. Kim clapped back, pointing out that he couldn't just decide one day that the persona he created was suddenly a problem. And fans agreed. The hypocrisy was hard to ignore. Fast forward to his marriage with Bianca Censori, and the contradictions only get louder. Paparazzi photos show Bianca walking barefoot in see-through bodysuits, draped in outfits that leave almost nothing to the imagination, and multiple reports claim it's Kanye who chooses every look. He's parading his new wife in the same hypersexualized way he once styled Kim, while simultaneously condemning Kim for letting North dress too grown. For critics, it's classic Kanye. Control when it suits him, outrage when it doesn't. And that's where the audience splits. One side argues that Kanye is a hypocrite, weaponizing his daughter's image not out of genuine protection, but as ammunition in his endless feud with Kim and Kris. To them, this isn't about safeguarding North. It's about Kanye rewriting the past and lashing out at the Kardashian empire that outgrew him. But the other side sees something else. A man who might be messy, inconsistent, and yes, even controlling, but still right about one thing. That North is just 12 years old, and no child should be styled like a mini-adult for the sake of paparazzi headlines. So the question remains, is Kanye West a protective father finally waking up to the machine he once helped power, or just a hypocrite trying to rewrite his role in the story? The answer might depend on which side of the Kardashian West war you're standing on. If there's one thing the Rome dinner made crystal clear, it's that the public is split right down the middle. On one side, critics are dragging Kim Kardashian to pieces, accusing her of following Kris Jenner's old playbook to keep the cameras on her family. To them, North's corset wasn't just a fashion choice. It was a carefully staged paparazzi moment, another chapter in a generational cycle of exploiting daughters for fame. The argument is harsh but consistent. Kris traded Kim's innocence for headlines. Kim followed the same formula with Kylie, and now she's doing it again with North. North is 12, not 18, one viral TikTok raged. This is exploitation, plain and simple. But then there's the other side of the internet, the crowd pointing fingers not at Kim, but at Kanye. To them, his outrage is nothing more than hypocrisy dressed up as fatherly concern. They see a man who spent years sexualizing Kim, styling her into the sex symbol of a generation, and now suddenly claiming moral high ground. They point out that he handpicks Bianca Censori's risque outfits, parades her in public, and profits off of the same sexualized imagery he condemns in others. One viral comment summed it up bluntly. Kanye doesn't care about protecting North. He just hates Kim. And caught in the middle is North herself. At 12 years old, she's the lightning rod of an argument that's bigger than just family drama. Is she just a kid experimenting with fashion, copying her mom, playing dress-up, trying on confidence the way many girls her age do? Or is she being robbed of her childhood, pulled into the spotlight years too soon, molded into a brand asset before she's old enough to understand the cost? That's the debate that won't die down. Supporters of Kim argue that North is creative, bold, and already carving her own path. After all, she's dabbled in music, fashion, and art. Why wouldn't she want to explore personal style? But critics push back, saying it's not self-expression when you're being dressed, styled, and paraded in front of paparazzi cameras you didn't ask for. The fear is that North isn't making these choices freely. The choices are being made for her, and the price will be the same one her Aunt Kylie paid growing up too fast, too exposed, and too shaped by a brand to know who she really is. At the heart of it all lies the uncomfortable truth. North isn't just Kim's daughter or Kanye's daughter. She's become a battleground for a cultural argument about childhood, fame, and control. One half of the world is begging Kim to protect her. The other is calling out Kanye's hypocrisy. And neither side seems to be asking the most important question: what does North herself actually want? And here's where it all comes crashing down. Behind the headlines, the fan debates, and the endless Kardashian West drama, there's a 12-year-old girl at the center of it all. North West didn't ask for the spotlight. She didn't sign up to be the internet's favorite conversation starter, or the pawn in a war between two parents who can't stop fighting each other through the media. She's just a kid, yet her every move, every outfit, every expression is dissected like it is a statement, when in reality, it might just be a child trying to exist. For Kim, North represents legacy. The next generation of the Kardashian empire, already branded as a star before she's even old enough to control her own Instagram. To Kim, styling North, letting her walk into dinners dressed like an adult, isn't exploitation. It's grooming her for the empire, making sure the Kardashian brand doesn't just survive but thrives through her daughter. For Kanye, North represents purity. A daughter he sees as his last chance to shield someone he loves from the fame machine he once helped build. His outrage, his public rants, his desperate warnings, they all come back to one thing: the fear that North will lose her innocence the way Kim did, the way Kylie did, the way every Kardashian-Jenner girl seems destined to. But here's the tragedy. Both parents may be failing her in their own way. Because when you strip it down, North isn't being raised in private. She's being raised in a tug-of-war. Kim pulls her toward the cameras, the brand, the glam. Kanye pulls her toward rebellion, religion, and control. And somewhere in the middle is a 12-year-old who never gets to just be 12. The truth is, childhood doesn't get a second chance. You don't get to rewind the years you spent being someone else's headline. And the saddest part? While Kim and Kanye fight their never-ending war, while the internet picks sides, the one person who loses the most is North. Not because she wore a corset to dinner in Rome, not because of paparazzi photos, but because her life, her choices, her very identity are already being shaped as a storyline, and not as her own story. And maybe that's the real chilling prophecy Kanye was trying to warn us about. Not the Kardashians, not Kris Jenner, but the cost of fame when the price is your own child's innocence. Before you click away, let me pause right here, because if you made it this far into the video, that means you're rocking with the content. And trust me, that support means everything. So here's the deal. Don't just watch and keep scrolling. Hit that like button. Not only does it help this video push through the algorithm, it also lets me know that you want more deep dives, more breakdowns, and more unfiltered conversations just like this one. And while you're at it, go ahead and share this video. Send it to a friend, drop it in a group chat, or post it to your socials. The more people who see it, the louder our community gets. And you know these conversations are way bigger than just one person's opinion. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And don't just subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way, you're locked in the moment a new video drops. Because the truth is, these stories move fast. One day it's breaking news. The next day it's buried under a new headline. If you're subscribed, you won't miss a single update, a single twist, or a single piece of tea. At the end of the day, this channel is bigger than just gossip. It's about connecting the dots, pulling back the curtain, and sparking conversations that mainstream media won't touch. And the only way we grow is with you. Every like, every share, every comment, every new subscriber is fuel for this community. So if you're rocking with what I'm building here, don't wait. Smash that like, share this with your people, and hit subscribe right now. Let's keep this conversation alive, and trust me, what's coming next? You won't want to miss it.